Okay, we are live. Hi, this is William Ramsey. Welcome to William Ramsey Investigates. On today's show, I have the 34th episode in my Bioweapons Blues series. It really hasn't stopped. I've titled this one From the New Testament. Full of dead men's bones and all corruption. Just kind of is ongoing. The murder of children, old, young. The lies, the gaslighting, the deception, the naked evil. It's part of the Biden administration, the entirety of the Biden administration. As responsible, partially Trump too, but just hasn't stopped. They've just played dumb. But the first clip I'm going to show here, and I'm going to show some clips and go through some slides. The first clip is here from Canberra, Australia. So I have all these. If you go back or if you've listened to all of these episodes, you know that I've had all these videos from all over the world, different parts of the world: France, Italy, Netherlands, U.S., UK. Of people putting up the vaccine placards, pictures, posters of their loved ones who were either injured or murdered. I mean, it's murder at this point. Murdered by these toxic shots that you were lied to by Safe and Effective. Very interesting novel event. Not like Nuremberg, not like World War II. It's really World War III. It's a biological war, but most of the governments, I'm not sure if there's really any government around the world that wasn't compromised in one way or another, that resisted these. Maybe some states or resisted these kill shots. So something extraordinary has happened, and the dust is still settling. So these episodes are an attempt to kind of put together a record of investigators, honest, independent investigators who are looking into it. Some people are compromised, clearly. There's infiltrators and all movements, I suppose. But anyway, this is Bioweapon Blues 34. So Christ in Jerusalem saying to scribes and Pharisees, you are all full of dead men's bones and all corruption, which I think is applicable today, no question. So you just see rest in peace and all these placards. But this is an interesting report from a guy, Greg Reese. He works for InfoWars. But I think it's really, if this is true, it'll be actually a declaration of war against certain parts of the citizenry, which is that the fatal COVID vaccines were sent knowingly to red states. So he says the CDC confirms that. I need to just confirm that myself. But here's the video.
Last year, we published a report entitled Evidence that U.S. Government Targeted Red States with Deadly Batch of Vaccine, a story that most outlets ignored. Private leaked documents from the CDC show a list of expiry dates, and only certain lots are included. The very same lots found to be highly toxic in Parta Cooper's database. This mode of deployment allows governments the ability to direct deadly batches into specific populations, such as red states. Analysis of the number of dying per 100,000 vaccinated in 50 states shows us that the overwhelming majority of vaccine deaths are happening in red states. Second smartest guy in the world on Substack also reported on it and has recently published an update, writing that now we have a more robust and far more damning view.
Yeah, so that's the second smartest guy in the world, so check him out. I'll have to go and look at that as well.
This carefully distributed depopulation scheme. Back in Ohio of 2021, the expose publishes a report on data found in the USA's VAERS, Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System, which reveals that 100% of COVID-19 vaccine deaths had been caused by just 5% of the batches that can be identified. And these deadly batches were not distributed evenly. The top 8 states with the highest vaccination death rate, Kentucky, Arkansas, West Virginia, Montana, Alaska, North Dakota, Wyoming, and Tennessee, are all red states. 19 of the top 24 on the list are red states. And California has been the least affected by the deadly lots of COVID vaccine. The numbers show that Kentucky has a 1,900% worse vaccination death rate than California, suggesting that Kentucky received 20 times the amount of deadly batches than California did. Florida, number 20 on the list of most vaccine deaths per vaccination, received 3 times the amount of deadly batches than California, with its vaccination death rate at 200% higher than California's. The author points out that these deadly batches would be better classified as rapid kill lots and slow kill lots, as we are now seeing more evidence that they kill over time. And the evidence shows that red states were targeted with the rapid kill shots. This would go along with the United Nations Agenda 2030 plan, which seeks to move the entire population into crowded cities and federalize all of flyover country in the name of climate change. They have less than 7 years to accomplish this, and they are deadly serious about it. The U.S. government is in lockstep with the United Nations, and they will resort to murder and democide to accomplish their goals of total control. Many are suggesting that this is what is happening in East Palestine, Ohio, right now. The people of America are under attack by their own government, who is never going to quit until they accomplish their goals or unless they are stopped. Reporting for InfoWars, this is Greg Reese.
Every death that has been associated with these vaccines.
So this is a cover-up in Australia about hiding the deaths of young children. It says, watch, Australia's drug regulator hid the deaths of a 7 and 9-year-old that suffered cardiac arrest after vaccination over concerns of undermining public confidence in the vaccination. So,
why on earth would we hide a 7 and 9-year-old?
That is the question.
That is the question. We are not. We have not.
You're sounding very defensive about it.
No, I'm not very defensive. I actually have the FOI in front of me.
The committee suspends.
This is a very sensitive question.
The committee suspends. Broadcasting is off.
So causality is what.
Senators, I'm about to. The committee suspends. The committee suspends.
Every death that is.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Senator Tammy.
And this is Idaho is getting ready to criminalize those who administer the kill shot, the COVID mRNA vaccine kill shot.
From District 10, and I'm presenting RS 30190. Basically, this is going to amend a section in Idaho Code by adding a new section that states that in the state of Idaho, a person may not provide or administer a vaccine developed using messenger ribonucleic acid technology for the use in an individual or any other mammal in the state. This is also known as mRNA, and we are seeing more and more concerns rising because of the mRNA vaccine, and we have issues that this was fast-tracked. There's no liability. There's no access to data. The risk benefit analysis has not been done. There's no informed consent. The single most qualified doctor who invented the mRNA actually has now said that it's not safe nor effective. And there are other options available if people want to get a shot that works with COVID. So I think there's a lot of discussion that needs to be done on this. I think there's a lot of information that continues to come out with concerns in blood clots and heart issues, and the correlation versus causation needs to be addressed. So I think it would be helpful for us to go ahead and print this and to be able to have that discussion. We do a lot of things in the state where we find out things are not good for people, such as different types of drugs, and we don't allow them. So I think that we need to approach this in a similar manner and be able to have that discussion. So I'm asking the committee to print RS3.
And this guy's very nervous. He's getting questioned in Florida about the use of remdesivir. He looks like he's had a few drinks already today. Let me check it. Let's get this going.
Then use things like ivermectin, which weren't. Was there a financial incentive?
No, there was not, and that's addressed in the report. But let me say this to all of y'all, that we wanted to look at what can we do here in Sarasota County in terms of taking care of our citizens.
We wanted to focus on things that we could control, not what happened in Washington, D.C., not what happened at CDC or the NIH. Our focus was how can we better prepare ourselves to take care of the citizens here in Sarasota County. Was there a problem? Let's get into it.
The following is a discussion about the WHO trying to pass a vote to become the most powerful health technocracy in the world.
Story, which is, of course, U.S. sovereignty being handed over to the World Health Organization. And this happens in about 4 days, right? February 27th.
Right. So over the next few days, the World Health Organization and member states are going to work out the details of this intergovernmental negotiating body meeting that happens on February 27th. And what they're trying to do is hand over power to the World Health Organization to dictate policies for future pandemics. The Biden administration last fall released a statement with the WHO saying, we see the need for this. We like it. We think it's important. We're going to do this. We're all in. This is called the WHO CA+, so that's how I'm going to refer to it. All 194 WHO member states are going to allow the WHO the power to declare and manage global pandemic emergencies. That means they could mandate lockdowns, they could mandate vaccines, they could dictate vaccine supplies and distribution, and they can monitor and put in place surveillance of entire populations. I'm going to show you the language because I went through the CA+ today that hands this to them. Here is what the draft of this treaty, because it's only in draft form right now, here's what it says. Here's the vision. Is that it aims for a world where pandemics are effectively controlled to protect present and future generations from pandemics and their devastating consequences, and to advance the enjoyment of the highest attainable standard of health for all peoples, based on the basis of equity, human rights, and solidarity, with a view to achieving universal health coverage while recognizing the sovereign rights of countries, acknowledging the difference in levels of development among countries respecting their national context, and recognizing relevant international instruments. So, okay, that sounds kind of nice, but it's predicated on the idea.
Wait, what part sounds nice?
I mean, the idea of like, we all get equal access to medicines that we need.
So like, okay, sub-Saharan Africa that gets screwed, and wealthy countries get the medications, or they charge insane prices, or
well,
that sort of.
We saw this
right.
happen during the monkeypox outbreak because Africa's been suffering from monkeypox for decades now, and did not have access to vaccines. But as soon as Western countries have it, hey, here's some vaccines we can use. We've had it in our stockpiles.
So that was Redacted News Inc. That was the two people talking there. This is Trudeau stumbling and bumbling about Chinese involvement in the election in Canada.
Leaks, particularly because there are so many inaccuracies in those leaks. But that's an entire other question. I'm a little bit off.
And this is another, I showed this on the intro to this stream, is these posters going up. This is the CDC building in Toronto. Just tons of pictures everywhere. And the following is a story of Kelly Slater. He's a famous surfer, world-class surfer, talking about his experience with injury.
Facts. Very.
If I can find it. Let's get over there.
There we go. Kovacs. Very anti someone just doing their own thing, that have now either had themselves or someone else affected by the vaccine. A number of people I know, I've talked about this before, so a number of people I know died. I know a doctor who stopped administering in Australia because 2 or 3 of his patients died on the Sunshine Coast. My mom was personally affected. She lost feeling in her jaw and tongue and in her hands and feet. She has what seems to be some type of transverse myelitis. My friend's mother from Barbados right now is in the hospital in Florida, and she's dying slowly from the effects of the Pfizer vaccine. She's on a quick downward spiral, and they don't know how to fix it. It's baffling to me that anyone would be forced to continue. They were forced to have a vaccine to keep their career, their job.
It's not a vaccine.
Schooling, their place in society, their ability to go buy food in the store. All these things are. It's like a dystopia in society to me, and I don't think people realize that because it comes on in small waves that get you conditioned to being okay with this and then this and then this and then this rule. And man, it's wild. But you know, if you want the vaccine, go get it. That's fine. I'd rather you not, because hey, if something did happen, you can't really reverse that. But don't force it on to me or my loved ones, and don't make me out to be a bad person because of it. Because if it works, then you're fine, and you shouldn't worry about me.
The United States will continue to.
Here's one of the arch liars that's out there. Her husband wrote the. He was helping to decrease vaccine hesitancy, and this is his wife talking some baloney about Ukraine. If you support Ukraine, you're a flat out idiot. There's no reason for us to be there. I'm sorry. You can send me all the emails you want. It's the stupidest conflict on earth. And the blowing up Nord Stream by the U.S. is actually a criminal act. There was no authorization by Congress.
Partner not only in Ukraine's defense, not only in the war to defeat Putin and his forces, but in the fight to strengthen Ukraine's democracy and its economy.
She knows full well it's not a democracy. She knows full well that Zelensky was installed in 2014, that they've shut down any political parties, that they run the media. This is just blatant propaganda and lies.
Will provide the seeds and supplies to the farmers who are out there sidestepping unexploded landmines to plant next year's crops. Right now, we will help bring international businesses back to Ukraine to help build.
They're going to make money on the downswing and the upswing. So they'll pay all the money, hundreds of billions of dollars laundered through there, and the suckers and idiots in the United States population will just blank check it while they siphon off the money. The war will come to an end next year, and then they'll all this rebuilding will come in, and more American tax dollars will be sent to Ukraine instead of your state for infrastructure, and they'll siphon money off of that as well, and you'll do nothing.
A resilient economy and put Ukrainians back to work. And we will continue to fund watchdog organizations and independent media that will help root out corruption and keep the government accountable to its people. So today, as I stand before this enduring symbol of democracy in front of a crowd committed to fighting for the democratic rights of all people, I say once again to Ukraine, you are winning. Winning back not only your territory, but your fundamental right to chart your own destiny. And winning the fight on behalf of democracies everywhere to protect sovereignty, independence, freedom, the rule of law, and dignity, which is so at the core of the Maidan revolution and so at the core of the fight today. Every day.
I should rewatch this speech 4 times just to see just blatant lying. Here's the White House press secretary saying who's really running the government in the U.S. right now.
An hour or so ago, President Obama announced that, President Biden. Whoa! That is news. I know. We're going back, not forwards. We got to go forward.
What you know now, do you wish you had a third term? And I used to say, you know what? If I could make an arrangement where I had a stand-in, a front man or front woman, and they had an earpiece in, and I was just in my basement in my sweats, looking through the stuff, and then I could sort of deliver the lines, but somebody else was doing all the talking and ceremony. I'd be fine with it.
So I'm writing my resignation letter at 7:30 in the morning. Take a look at that. 3 weeks left. That's all I've got in me to be a nurse. And then after that, we will figure it out. I can't support this healthcare system anymore, and I can't be a part of this money game and this abuse system. And I refuse to sell my soul. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. It's weird.
COVID-1 clearly originated in
This is Fauci with another slip of the tongue. Talks about Chinese communists.
China, and we were fortunate to escape a major pandemic. So we really had to learn a lot more about the viruses that were there, about whether or not people were getting infected with bad viruses. So in a very minor collaboration, as part of a subcontract of a grant, we had a collaboration with some Chinese scientists. And what he conflated that is that therefore we were involved in creating the virus, which is the most ridiculous, majestic leap I've ever heard of. Oz COVID-1 clearly originated in China, and we were fortunate to escape a major pandemic. So we really had to learn a lot more about the viruses that were there, about whether or not people were getting infected with bad viruses. So in a very minor collaboration, as part of a subcontract of a grant, we had a collaboration with some Chinese scientists. And what he
should, or in a functioning legal system, he already would have been arrested.
That is that therefore we were involved in creating the virus, which is the most ridiculous, majestic leap I've ever heard of.
So this is I showed this clip last time where Bridgen was out of the UK was bribed. He was he claims right here that there's an attempted bribe from number 10 from the prime minister to shut up about the vaccines, which it's not surprising. He said, "They tried to buy me. What do you want? You can have anything you want," supposedly he said to him. All these slides are from late February. Today is March 8th. And then it says Andrew Bridgen did not kill himself. And it says, what's chilling is that in this interview, he told me that he had had calls from parliamentary welfare claiming they had multiple reports he was suicidal. That was the host. So the threats are out there. It's a very dangerous situation. Health effects in vaccinated versus unvaccinated children. So you can just see here, unvaccinated, barely any health effects, partially vaccinated, much higher, vaccinations up to date. So it's the vaccination protocols themselves outside of the kill shot, the COVID mRNA death shot, cause health problems, period. This is Dan Knight. Justin Trudeau is noticeably shaken when taking questions about a Chinese ambassador bragging in a CSIS report that Chinese interference unseated 2 conservative MPs. I mean, it's really embarrassing. Like, the whole government is such a joke. And that's not just Canada. It's here in the U.S. There's massive vote fraud in 2020, 2022 as well. Totally embarrassing, just from an objective level. Like, the Judases of your own country will sell you out. It's no doubt. Yonker et al. Finds free circulating spike protein in post-COVID-19 mRNA vaccine myocarditis. Spike antigen was detected in the blood of adolescents and young adults who developed post-mRNA vaccines. So what happens is, like, people get the shot and then spike protein circulates through the blood, and then it creates an autoimmune effect as the white blood cells try to get rid of it, and then it kills normal functioning tissue. That seems to be what's happening. Probably planned and designed that way. Planned to kill. Intent to harm. And then this is another one. I just ran the one about Idaho. Here's the state of Mississippi from Headley Reese. Will the state of Mississippi be the first to stop the toxic jabs? It says, delighted or what? How delighted was I when my colleague in the Truth for Health Foundation, toxicologist Jancy Lindsay, asked me to join in with the team in the state of Mississippi? The answer is very, very, very. Stopping these jabs is going to take a mountain of evidence and fighting spirit. And by gosh, do they have fighting spirit in spades. And the evidence is morphing into that mountain. Leading the team is Dr. John Witcher, and this is what Fox News published on him last month. GOP Mississippi doctor against vaccine mandate runs for governor. Good on you. Good, go for it. A Midwestern doctor. Dangerous mRNA vaccine contaminants were just discovered. A discussion on production quality control, bacterial evolution, spike proteins, and antibiotics. So there's just tons of contaminants in there. People have found that. New Zealand deaths with COVID-19 by vaccination status by 100,000. This is unvaccinated, fully vaccinated, boosted. So if you get boosted, you're in deep trouble. That was back in 2022. Age brackets of New Zealand deaths with COVID-19 per 100,000 of each vaccination status. So it looks like mostly older people. Peter, Sweden, this is bad. Massive amounts of excess deaths and nobody seems to know why. What do you think is causing this? Monthly excess mortality in December 2022 all throughout Europe. New Zealand government data shows that COVID vaccines make you more likely to die from COVID, not less. That's Steve Kirsch. Wow, finally, crystal clear government data shows the more you vax, the more likely you are to die from COVID. This is the opposite of what the U.S. health authorities and medical community told us. Yeah, it is. This is important. This is age stratified and normalized per 100,000. It shows very clearly they lied to us. No way out. GW writes, I'll never forget being called to task by our primary care coordinator when these shots came out, when I dared raise the issue that it was never tested in pregnant women. He reiterated that it was safe and effective, and that was that. And then Chief Nerd writes, Dr. Marty Makari on how the COVID vaccine was recommended for pregnant women with zero data. They mysteriously stopped the trial after 349 women enrolled in the study. The results of those 349 women have never been made public. Second smartest guy in the world. CDC confirms 100% of reported COVID-19 vaccine deaths were caused by just 5% of batches reproduced, and the majority were sent to red Republican states across the USA. So that's incredible. Last year, this Substack reported on vaccine lot batch allocations and how conservative states were being targeted by the eugenics pandemic program. Now we have a more robust and far more damning view of this carefully distributed depopulation scheme. Wow. On October 31st, we exclusively revealed how an investigation into the USA's Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System, or VAERS, found extremely high numbers of adverse reactions and deaths have been reported against specific lot numbers of the COVID-19 vaccines numerous times, meaning deadly batches of the experimental injections have now been identified. That investigation also led to the discovery that 130 different lot numbers of Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine distributed to more than 13 states harmed on average 639 times more people, hospitalized on average 109 times more people, and killed on average 22 times more people than the 4,289 different lot number of Pfizer vaccine distributed to 12 states or less. However, the most shocking finding of the investigation was that 100% of COVID-19 vaccine deaths reported to VAERS with identified lot numbers have been caused by just 5% of the batches produced. But the deeply troubling findings don't end there, because we decided to conduct further analysis of the VAERS data on the COVID-19 vaccines, and we've discovered that the majority of the deadliest batches were clearly sent to Republican-controlled red states across the USA. Wow. This is Retsef Levy out of Israel. Autopsies show that the mRNA vaccine safety paradigm collapsed. The mRNA stays in the body and expresses toxic spike protein in cells throughout the body. All organs are affected, including blood vessels, heart, brain, and reproductive system. It has to stop. Yeah, it already should have stopped. This mechanism also allows the spike to propagate throughout the body, completely undetected, and escape the immune response. This is Pierre Corey. The case against the FDA for their illegal anti-ivermectin actions. The case brought by Drs. Paul Marik, Mary Bowden, and Robert Apter is now at the Court of Appeals. I was interviewed for this awesome Federalist article today, where I landed some powerful blows. Doctors sue FDA for prohibiting ivermectin to treat COVID-19. Good. Should be sued personally, too. Space Pirate. Breaking. Pfizer knowingly allowed dangerous components in its vaccines. Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine contains mRNA fragments called truncated mRNA. Stunningly, Pfizer submitted falsified mRNA analytical reports to multiple health authorities. In its Epoch Health, Pfizer knowingly allowed dangerous components in its vaccines. Wow. It's not looking good. This is writing to Becerra, Tabak, and Robert Califf, Commissioner of the FDA, about this whole statement. Jordan Walker, who got caught by Veritas. I wonder what will happen there. This is Pfizer turning your body into medicine factories. Yeah, that didn't work out right. This is good news. There's a COVID litigation conference, March 25th through 26th. So a lot of these lawyers are getting together, share news. I mean, if these personal injury lawyers are smart, they'd get on board with this, because the settlements are going to be in the billions. COVID litigation conference next month in Atlanta. The COVID litigation conference next month is vital to rectifying the harms of the COVID-19 vaccines and mandates. Yeah, no, they're not vaccines. Panels include employer mandates, censorship, education mandates, vaccine injury, medical license, hospital negligence, civil rights, mass torts, and fraud. Yeah. Farrar, key COVID origins propagandist, is set to be head scientist for the WHO as it attempts power grab. From Sam Husseini, the head of the Wellcome Trust, signed both the Lancet letter and helped formulate proximal origins in Nature Medicine, the two main pillars of propaganda on COVID origins. So he's lying about it. I think it was Reed Sheftall said it was like 1 in 7 trillion that the virus, as analyzed, could have come from zoonotic origins, right? So somebody helped evolve it or grow it forward. So it's bad. And these are just kind of some of these people who are in trouble. Avril Haines, 2017, U.S. deep state actor who participated in Event 201 in the February 2020 Preventing Global Catastrophic Biological Risks exercise as well. They actually caused it instead of preventing it. Deputy Director of the CIA 2013 to 15, Director of National Intelligence since 2021. Enough said. This is Judith Rodin, 2005, as president of the Rockefeller Foundation, took part in the lockstep exercise which foresaw a pandemic as the means by which a techno-totalitarian government might unfold. Looks like a great candidate for the Rockefeller lizard types that want to control global events without any accountability to anyone. Strike 3, Jeffrey Zients, 2017. This is the guy who said, like, if you don't take your vaccine, you're going to have a winter of misery and death. I mean, it's literally recorded. I have that in one of my earlier shows. And now he's the chief of staff for the White House. Full of dead men's bones and all corruption. Just totally evil people. These are monsters. Jeffrey Zients, 2017, became White House coronavirus coordinator in 2021, announced in August that year that it's time to impose some requirements where COVID jabs are concerned. Anyone or anything that has ties to President Biden's White House is as clean as Cinderella's frock after 4 weeks of scrubbing the floors and walls of a coal mine on instruction from her ugly sisters. Out. There are many other notables out of the 140 or so current Bilderberg Group members who have as much expertise and experience in developing any kind of positive solution for anyone outside their social circles as your local dentist. Yeah, just a bunch of criminals. This is positive news. Dissolution of spike protein by nattokinase. Holy grail of COVID-19 vaccine detoxification by Peter McCullough. And you can actually buy that. You can buy nattokinase. You don't have to eat it. You can buy pills of it. Just take them. Add it to your protocol if you got injured. This is Florida Surgeon General Dr. Latipo found VAERS safety signal. Now what? This letter is a very good start. Dr. Latipo wrote a letter to criminals, Rochelle Walensky, head of CDC, and Robert Califf, FDA commissioner, asking them to explain the bodies left in their wake over the past 2 years in Florida. Okay, he didn't call them criminals. I do. His study of VAERS records identified 4,400% increase in life-threatening conditions reported after the rollout of the injections. Wow. They're just poker facing all the way through, gaslighting, incredible. She writes, I applaud Dr. Latipo for his courage to bring this up. He is the first high-ranking public health official who is openly asking to explain the data that was obvious to the crazy conspiracists 2 years ago. He has not yet mentioned the death reports, but they are in VAERS right alongside the staggering increase in life-threatening events. A quick search for COVID-19 vaccine-related death reports for Florida produced 564 reports. Note that the total is over 100% because in some cases it took multiple shots to kill one person. Will Rochelle Walensky and Robert Califf notice the safety signal now? My bet is no, but the Surgeon General of Florida is a bit harder to dismiss than tinfoil hat-wearing citizens or even a persistent U.S. senator. Senator Johnson wrote 50-plus letters to criminals and was likewise ignored by all of HHS and labeled by Peter Marks, head of the FDA, as a misinformation spreader. Wow. So that's why they attacked back. And that's what Walensky said publicly. I think it was in the last show. She was like still talking about mis and disinformation. These are wicked monsters. Full of dead men's bones. Children's bones now. They're all child killers too. Full of children's bones. Dead children's bones and all corruption. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. This is Senator Johnson's email to the FDA. But my money is still on Rochelle and other criminals being unresponsive to questions about their crimes. Why would they respond? Why acknowledge the death and injury toll that they are directly responsible for? That would be self-incriminating. Yeah, you're right. Truth Seeker writes, Bill Gates' lab-grown meat causes cancer in humans. I'm not surprised at all. Probably everything associated with Gates causes cancer and death. Monsanto, his shots, everything. That's like a Bond-level villain, criminal, monster, evil, demonic. A ghoul, really. He looks like a ghoul. Dr. Paul Alexander. Dr. Teresa Long, medical officer of the U.S. military. I have so many soldiers being destroyed by this COVID mRNA technology vaccine. Not a single member of my senior command has discussed my concerns. I have nothing to gain and all to lose talking about it. I am watching people get absolutely destroyed. Deaths of military members from vaccines exceeds deaths from the COVID virus. Yeah, there probably weren't any deaths from the COVID virus. This is somebody like wishing somebody dying. Dean Blundell. Looks like we got a couple of Jesus, COVID, QAnon-related deaths, homecomings to celebrate kids. Dean Blundell. Then Simon Godek responds, hey, it's Dean Blundell. Are you for real? That tweet is downright despicable. Celebrating the death of people who fight for the good is sickening and inhumane. Shame on you for spreading such garbage. Ahmad Malik. Pfizer logged over 158,000 separate adverse events during their clinical trial. 1,300 different types of adverse events in total. Meanwhile, we were told it was safe and effective. This is not informed consent. No, it's not. This is the Vigilant Fox, Edward Dowd, who I've mentioned all the time. Funeral company stock reaches all-time highs as death rates fail to return to baseline. Recently, the Service Corporation International, said on their call that COVID's over. We're seeing such a sustained rate of deaths that we think is going to continue. They didn't name it. They didn't name the vaccine, but business is good. Wow. Kevin Bass. This is pseudoscience. You cannot extrapolate from observational studies to present these giant effect sizes and make recommendations due to residual confounding. You need randomized controlled trials. This is scientifically very inappropriate and incredibly deceptive. It's something from CDC, of course. CDC study finds that people aged 12 years and older who got an updated COVID-19 vaccine were less likely to get infected or die from COVID-19 compared with those who did not get an updated vaccine. But they said that it didn't protect against transmission. So go figure. Probably lying again. This is Chris Nelson. Dr. John Littell kicked out of Sarasota Memorial Hospital board meeting after testifying to the effectiveness of ivermectin to treat COVID-19. So they punted him. This is a graph, vaccinated deaths relative to vaccinated population ages 18 to 39 years. England. The blue line shows the proportion of vaccinated people in England, while the black line shows the proportion of deaths that received at least one vaccine. If the black line is above the blue line, that means relative to the population, more vaccinated people are dying. So the vaccine is causing it. This is Naomi Wolf, a cover-up of evidence of mass murder. The CDC appears to be removing VAERS records, so they're tinkering with records. Even the Satanic Convention requires proof of COVID vaccination. Igor Chudov says, I might support that one. Aaron Siri, this is the guy who litigates for Children's Health Fund, Health Defense, who got the VAERS records from Walensky, the 2021 ones that show that she knew that people were being injured. Knows. FDA and Pfizer clinical trial docs reveal more people died after getting a C-19 vaccine than after a placebo. The FDA's incredible response when we pointed this out was, the FDA is unable to respond substantively at this time due to resource constraints. Wow. Charles Rixey, Spartacus, and I discussed the biodefense underpinnings of the pandemic and the elements that allow the charades to continue. So it's a live stream. Sasha Latipova, the Pfizer clinical trial in Argentina was a military operation, and Augusto has the contracts to prove it, so somebody knows that it's happening. The entire COVID, its global lockstep response, and the Operation Warp Speed were a military operation, a live exercise, according to Mike Pompeo. Groundbreaking testimony changes everything. Florida County returns CDC funds after confirming Vax is a bioweapon. The CDC was shot down and denied bioweapon funding. Karen Kingston joined Stu to share how her work in Collier County, Florida proved that Pfizer produced bioweapon injections with the help of the government. Through presenting her evidence and sharing a powerful testimony, Karen was able to convince Commissioner Chris Hall to stop the $1.4 million in NIH funding to the CDC. Idaho passed a law stating that administering mRNA vaccines will result in a misdemeanor. But is this enough to stop the shots? Karen believes we can't rely upon politicians to make a change and that citizens need to unite against big pharma. She's right. They're bought and sold. All these politicians, crap, garbage. This is the Augusto guy, a lawyer who got data in Argentina. This is Champagne Joshi. It looks like Pfizer messed with the wrong guy. Augusto, a skilled lawyer, sued to get his trial data. What that turned up is proof of fraud and a deliberate attempt to memory hole his serious adverse event as anxiety, not a heart condition. This is Paul Alexander. 6 to 13-year-old children athletes in Canada are suddenly dying, and we are saying this is due to COVID mRNA technology gene injection. Mandating COVID vaccines for children to play sports was criminal. Dr. William Mackis rightly reminds us that COVID-19 vaccines are banned for kids under 18 in Scandinavian countries. So why are they still mandated in Canada? Where are the premiers? These jabs kill you. Well, your prime minister is Trudeau. This is breaking 9/11. You have a total diversity hire administration. The cabinet is a majority people of color. The cabinet is majority female. A majority of White House senior staff identify as female. 40% identify as part of their racially diverse communities. And a record 7 assistants to the president are openly LGBTQ+. Vigilant Fox details the vaccine manufacturer's stunning admission of causing injury and harm. Each of the 405 diseases that have become epidemic since 1989 is listed as a side effect in the vaccine inserts. Autism is among those diseases listed. The federal law says that they're not allowed to list anything on that manufacturer's insert unless the FDA determines that it is likely that the vaccine caused the injury. Wow. You can't take any of these vaccines. You can't trust any of these people. This is Sonia Elijah back on Redacted to discuss the EU vaccine safety update report. So I already did a video of these guys talking about the WHO. I had the honor of being invited back to speak with seasoned journalist Clayton Morris of Redacted. He interviewed me on my latest investigative report published in Children's Health Defense Europe on the EU's first ever periodic safety update report on the Pfizer-BioNTech mRNA shot. The data does not lie. The authority to ban off-label uses was buried on page 3,542 of the 4,100-page omnibus appropriations bill signed into law, though it's officially applied to banned devices. So sick. Peter Halligan, just in case you thought the FDA had any interest in your health, it triples down on making sure you suffer when a treatment that will cure you lies within a few feet. Yeah, just monsters. Bill Mayer busting the left. Big story, and I wonder how much it's going to get covered in the liberal media because it's about natural immunity. They did a giant study, 65 countries, and found natural immunity is as good or better than the vaccine. Wow. So it finally took them 3 years later to figure that out. Ashish Jha, Biden's COVID advisor, believes America should hand over its constitution, rights, and sovereignty to the World Health Organization. He seems to think that a global response is good. I don't. This guy's just another corrupt, vile creature. Vigilant Fox, Edward Dowd again. The people with the best health outcomes over the past 2 years are those not in the labor force. The health outcome for the employed population has been disastrous, lamented former BlackRock portfolio manager Edward Dowd. The disability rate for the employed is up 31%. The disability rate of the general population is up 9%. And most telling, the people not in the labor force, those who quit their jobs or got fired, experienced only a 4% increase in disability rates. So those of us who have had the best health outcomes in the country since vaccination began are those not in the labor force. Stu Peters, Dr. Francis Boyle is a Harvard and U Chicago educated legal expert. He says the COVID shots are bioweapons. These shots do meet the definition of a biological weapon according to the 1989 Bioweapons Act, and they meet the definition of a bioweapon according to Florida state law. He was one of the first to speak out about the gain-of-function research. Lion of Judah, Pfizer and Moderna don't really own those vaccines. They slapped their labels on them, but it was a Pentagon project, RFK Jr. Even in the whistleblower case, Pfizer requested it be dropped because they delivered the requested product of the DoD. Are we awake yet? Vaccine genocide. This is COVID-19 deaths by vaccination status for 2022 in England is just off the charts. It's way higher if you got vaccinated. This is another one about nattokinase using to detoxify from deleterious pathogenic effect of COVID synthetic spike protein. Peter Navarro, sounding the alarm over the WHO's attack on American taxpayers and sovereignty. Yes, very important. This is Health Freedom Unmuzzled. Yep, just so everyone understands, this data isn't about the COVID vaccines. It's time for the truth about all vaccines to come out. Vaccine injury is not rare. It's just rarely acknowledged. The last 10 years of my life, I've been doing a deep dive into the scientific literature and listening to the testimonies of tens of thousands of vaccine injured and their practitioners, and I've come to the conclusion that many of the chronic health conditions we suffer from today may very well be from the vaccination program. We are an entire society of vaccine injured. Yes, that's correct. I agree with that. The informant in the most watched program on Russian state TV, the propagandists want to launch a nuclear warheads over Yellowstone National Park. Nice. This is the bill that they have in the House of Idaho representatives to ban the use of the mRNA. This is Catherine Watt talking about war criminals. In August 2022, I posted U.S. federal crimes for which there is evidence to prosecute COVID-19 bioterrorists who occupy U.S. government positions in a starter list of defendants. Since August, I've added more names to that list as I've located them in the U.S. government record documenting U.S. government crimes and U.S. government pre- and during crime cover-ups. It's a work in progress. Omissions are not intentional. The conspirators' web is complex. I'll continue to update it as my research continues as state and federal war crimes investigations move forward. So these are seen as war crimes. The bio kill shot rollout, massive, millions of people injured in the United States alone. Unbelievable. Igor Chudov, this 4 times vaccinated Redditor and MD, is having his 6th COVID. Each COVID is worse than the previous one. He is sure that masks work, because he only catches COVID on vacation while not wearing a mask. Well, he's been zapped. Vigilant Fox, vaccine shedding. Women are having miscarriages and bleeding problems just from being around inoculated people. This is a disaster for relationships and marriages. There are several anecdotes where women are losing their babies after their male partner gets injected. Dr. Christine Northrup. All we know is that kids are getting sick from being around inoculated people. Colleagues of mine are getting sick from being around inoculated people. And women are having miscarriages and bleeding problems just from being around inoculated people. Bioweapon. I mean, I can tell you anecdotally, when I'm around people who've just been injected, I get sick. It happened to me twice. This is the Orthodox ethos with Father Peter Hears, the coronavirus narrative and its demonic methodology. I have to listen to that. That's good. This is why I played this video. CDC confirms that majority of fatal COVID vaccines were knowingly sent to red states, so it's evidence intent to harm, intent to kill. ALCI 17, holy moly, Singapore data dropped, highest death rate recorded in 62 years. On top of that, a staggering 58% increase in prenatal deaths over previous year. Babies born to vaccinated parents in trouble. Yeah. Murderers. Let's see. This is joke propaganda. CBS, soaring heart attacks due to lack of masking. They're just trying to rape people's brains. It's the worst stuff. Breaking news, USA, Canada, and Switzerland. 3 U.S. law enforcement agencies activated. Dr. David Martin, murder charges and global terrorism against Dr. Fauci, Peter Daszak, Ralph Barrick, Justin Trudeau, and many others in connection with mRNA deaths and government mandates. Moderna paid NIAID $400 million in royalties on COVID-19 vaccine sales. That's Kyle Becker. The COVID vaccine maker paid a $400 million catch-up payment to the NIAID, formerly headed by Dr. Anthony Fauci. Corruption. Friday Hope, metformin revisited. Anti-Philippodia properties. Metformin combined with gnatokinase as potential long COVID spike therapeutic. It's metformin. I don't even know what that is. Tucker Carlson, has there ever been a study linking so-called long COVID to excess mortality? Edward Dowd, no. And we don't even have a clinical definition for long COVID yet, because I suspect if they come up with a clinical definition, it would mimic a lot of the adverse events we found in the vaccine. Yeah, probably. Breaking new research reveals 57-fold increase in miscarriages and 38-fold increase in stillbirths and fetal deaths after COVID mRNA jabs. These are just all the crimes of treason for joining the WHO. That's Pascal Najati, Swiss banker, filed criminal charges against Swiss president. Good. Dr. Ahmad Malik, 58% miscarriage rate in the vaccinated. This is an absolute disaster. Great interview by Dr. Tina Piers. Excess mortality goes mainstream in earth-shattering Ed Dowd Tucker Carlson interview. In 2021, the stats people expected went off the rails. Yeah, they did. Vigilant Fox, developing female fetuses could be rendered infertile, but will not know fully until 20 years' time. Dr. Roger Hodkinson. These nanoparticles from the clot shot that are going to be known to be inflammatory and known to concentrate in rat ovaries are getting through the placenta and could be attacking the ovary of the developing female fetus. Translation. This may not be simply an effect on fertility. It could be causing infertility, only to manifest 20 years later when that little girl becomes of reproductive age. Clandestine, wow. Moderna earnings release yesterday shows a $400 million payment to the NIAID, which is one of the 27 institutes that makes up the NIH. In other words, Fauci-led NIH were receiving kickbacks for the vaccine's conflict of interest, no doubt. But nobody did anything. The government's gone, man. It's a total joke. Embarrassing. Kyle Becker. Ladies and gentlemen, the single best evidence for the United States' COVID response was a complete failure is that excess mortality rates persist above baseline more than 3 years into a pandemic that killed less than 0.1% of the global population. This should not be happening. The lockdowns, mask mandates, vaccines, vaccine mandates, all of it, despite all of the economic damage and social upheaval, has not significantly reduced the nation's overall death rate. The experts were wrong. Yeah, now the question is like intentional or negligent. Once again, if these people who brought this medical terror upon us are not brought to trial and made to pay for what they did, there's no doubt at all they'll try to do it in the future. Yeah, no doubt. Peter Halligan, from the Kill the Weak, the Elderly and Poor, and called it C-19 files. Canada exhibits the same tendencies as the other tyrannies like New Zealand, UK, and New York City, who happen to have assumed dictatorial powers during the pandemic. Politics and medicine do not mix and result in death and disease. Shocking, 80% of all COVID deaths in Canada in 2020 occurred in long-term facilities and assisted living and nursing homes. First wave, 2,000 such killing field homes. Wow. Paul Alexander. Whatever happened to Pfizer's COVID vaccine trial in pregnant women? I wish to let you women know FDA recommended this mRNA gene injection with zero data. None. Won't study it. Why? Because they're trying to kill you. Trying to kill you off. This is in Israel. It took them a while, but they finally managed to get Dr. Shahar fired from his position as head of Lanido Hospital Emergency Department. Dr. Shahar, a cardiologist and an internal medicine specialist, has more heart than all AMOH combined. His sin was telling the truth. Devastating 4 UK graphs paint a killing fields picture, and by extrapolation in Canada, American, UK, etc., they killed our elderly parents with midazolam by withholding antibiotics and DNR. There's a ghoul, another ghoul. Biden. Congratulations, Joe. You've destroyed the country and are well en route to starting World War III. Tyranny and cowardice at Yale. Students required to receive COVID bivalent booster. Faculty encouraged. So the students have to take it. Faculty is encouraged. So we got to kill off some students. Vigilant Fox. This is Dave Martin, Dr. Martin. Looming disaster. How many people are going to suffer because of the jab? We're going to be taking out the population of people trained to take care of the sick and dying. There will be people who die as a result of sudden cardiac deaths, acute deaths from pulmonary clotting, and so on. Then there is morbidity. People are getting sicker and sicker. And the last piece that hardly anyone talks about is the threat of a die-off to the healthcare industry. Yep, they all took the kill shot. I mean, it does kill you. Kanioka, Dr. Anthony Fauci funded gain-of-function research at the Wuhan lab, lied to Congress about it, and now both the FBI and the Department of Energy have concluded that the coronavirus originated at the Wuhan lab. Does that mean Dr. Anthony Fauci funded the development of COVID-19? Elon Musk. He did it via a pass-through organization, EcoHealth. It wasn't just him, he's a front man. Did General Miley also discuss the subcontracting of C-19 mRNA to the U.S. via Chinese Communist Party subsidiary, Fosun Pharmaceutical, using Trump as a cover? This is very important. Like, who's making this vaccine? Is the Chinese Communist Party juicing it? Is that why people are dying? Like, it's incredible. At this point, we don't even know. Literally incredible. Naomi Wolf interviews Steve Deese and Daniel Horowitz for an hour to discuss the book, The Rise of the Fourth Reich. Never again from the aftermath of World War II Nuremberg trials. It's happening now to us, man. It's really similar, not the same. Menstrual abnormalities after COVID-19 vaccines. 52% had some form of menstrual problem. This is like this lady who just keeps getting the shot and getting sick. She can't put it together. Deepti Gurdizani. Persistence of the spike protein may be inducing systemic autoimmune disease, mimicking Sjogren's, arthritis, vasculitis, diabetes, etc. It's probably the same of all these shots. A perfect bioweapon, sowing the body with the seeds of self-destruction via most efficient endothelial delivery. It's a bioweapon. There's an idiot, Kamala Harris. Deliberate deployment of biochemical agents is now okay to call lab leak on social media, Sasha Latipova. Your masters agreed that the slaves can talk about viruses leaking from labs so that they can be more agreeable with the WHO treaty. Vigilant Fox, it's time to start questioning everything, including the childhood vaccinations. I asked Andrew Wakefield, do the unvaccinated kids do 10% better, 20% better in terms of the health outcomes and so forth? And he said, oh, no, not even close. It's like 10 times better. If you look at the under the reign of Fauci for 40 plus years, where childhood chronic diseases and illnesses have gone from 6% to about 54% as we've added more and more layers of shots onto those schedules. And again, they'll say correlation isn't causation. Well, not a single childhood vaccine was ever tried in their clinical trials against placebo. So like, it's just total snake oil. It's a total joke. The CDC lied. Oh, surprise. The mRNA wasn't meant to stay in the arm. They just lied about everything, man. CDC finally concedes that natural immunity is superior to vaccinated immunity. These guys are fraudsters. They should immediately be arrested. It's off the charts. It's such a joke. Oh my God. Total joke. Now the end begins. The world religion. This is really scary, which is Holy S. Random heart testing at a recent event found 50% of the people tested had myocarditis. We're in trouble. Surprised to find that over half of those tested had positive markers for myocarditis. 2 were active duty U.S. military pilots. So just random testing half of them at it. This is Dr. Mike Yeadon. I wrote this note to a journalist who's good in the alt media. They wanted detailed replies to a few questions. I'm always tired, yet in declining the request, I began by explaining the bigger picture, and it became a mini essay. I'm sharing because it contains highly relevant information. Best wishes, Mike. Dear X, I no longer waste any time on details, even important ones. Why not? Well, because we've established beyond any doubt that 1, every single thing we were told is a lie. 2, the vaccines not only don't work to protect people, but they are injurious and have killed millions. Personally, I no longer believe there was any novel respiratory virus. See Denis Rancourt's articles and interviews. So arguing details just wears us out. I stick with the big picture, because this is the heart of it. If we can't persuade people of that, humanity is going down. Best wishes, Mike. It's already going down. Humanity's already going down. You can just see in the response of people. Vigilant Fox. The origins of COVID was never a secret. The people who knew lied about the truth. Why did they lie? To hide the Chinese government's role in mass murder, the killing of almost 7 million people, and the destruction of the American economy. Tucker Carlson levels Jimmy Kimmel, calls him complicit in the greatest crime in history. Imagine if you're a comedian and all of a sudden your cue card has all kinds of talking points from politicians and foreign governments on it. Don't read it. You degrade yourself and you become complicit in the greatest crime in history. The guy's a clown anyway. I don't know any. None of my friends watch late night TV or comedy or whatever they call it. That would be just like, yeah. This is Fauci admitting February 27th, 2023. After all this stuff, Fauci admits COVID vaccines are suboptimal. So he and Gates changed at the same time. This is a ghoul. He looks like he's getting paler and paler. I think people are totally onto him, like his crimes over the decades. Nobody really believes it. Only the stupid people. He only goes on TV because that's where the stupid people are. So he goes on TV and propagandizes them. It's like a vector for dumb idiocy. It's national television. This is somebody trying to increase more kill shots. Gleb. I don't even know if it's a real name. Gleb Sipersky. People aren't getting the COVID booster. Employers can change that. So employer's going to mandate it. Great. There's nattokinase, so people could check that out if they got sick. They've done a lot of tests on it. Just more fraud. This is a possibility of hydroxychloroquine allows viruses to attack cancer cells while leaving healthy cells healthy. Seems like information the public deserves to know and makes you wonder why they tried to obscure this data in the study. Certainly would be bad for the cancer industry business. So if you get cancer, take some hydroxychloroquine. Criminal blackmail, and there's a lunatic. Paxlovid is like one of the greatest scams ever. So they create like this COVID and then sell you the solution, Paxlovid, which had like 22 billion in sales. Such a scam. I'll ask the question once more. Why is a repurposed HIV/AIDS drug being used to treat COVID? Paxlovid is ritonavir. Ritonavir is Norvir. Wow. That should scare the crap out of you. You take that Paxlovid, holy smokes. The Pfizer document shows the rate of miscarriage of women in their first trimester is around the 80 to 82% rate. It actually works better than the abortion pill, Dr. Elizabeth Mumper. So, like I said in all these other shows, you're going to have this whole dip. There's going to be whole classes of kids missing. There's going to be whole classes of children missing. There's also going to be some very, very angry females. It's just going to build up. What happens when 300 kids take the COVID vaccine and then are studied by scientists not funded by Pfizer? A shocking number of them, 30%, display serious heart issues. It's just terrifying. This is murder. Infection-acquired immunity was never a novel concept until I came to Congress, said Miller Meeks. Yeah. So they're still hearing. Marty McCarry, what are we doing injecting children? Has any young, healthy child died in the United States of COVID in the last 3 years? Germany did a study. It was 0 kids, 5 through 11 years of age, that died that were healthy in the entire country. So this is mass murder. It's just that thousands of people have to be arrested. It's too big for these people. It's way too big for a loser like Garland Merrick or even the head of the FBI. Like the whole political establishment, whole political system has to be totally rearranged, or they're just going to continue to kill children. It's that bad. It's that bad. LA Times, mocking anti-vaxxers' COVID deaths is ghoulish, yes, but maybe necessary. Wow. Just totally depraved, evil people. A good bunch of demons are out there. Full of dead men's bones and all corruption. There are over 1.5 million adverse COVID vaccine effects reported on the VAERS system, and no one seems to want to investigate what these vaccine injuries and deaths are all about. And that's something that cannot be ignored. Wow. They're trying to ignore it. This is another demon. He shouldn't even be... He should be arrested and definitely deposed. Hotez, many thanks for hosting me today as I explain the initial cluster of COVID cases around a specific wet market in Wuhan and the evidence supporting natural origins versus far less likely lab leak scenarios. That's total lies. It's more evidence of malign acts of unconscionable evil. That's right. It's really unconscionable evil. Just did incredible damage to people. The FAA has changed the heart exam so these pilots can fly, and they're still dying in the air. So might want to say an extra prayer next time you go flying. But now, effectively, a vax-injured pilot could pass a flight physical, suffer a fatal cardiac event, and the next day and be completely legal to do so. Nature doesn't make mistakes. Ivermectin is a remarkable drug. Ivermectin was made by a bacterium which was found in the soil on a golf course in Japan. Antiviral, anti-inflammatory, activates autophagy, improves the microbiome, binds to the spike protein. Yeah, I actually tried to get a prescription at my local pharmacy. They wouldn't give it to me. I had to get it mailed to me. I never got a good explanation. Joseph Mercola, the safety data on Recombavax HB, the hepatitis B vaccine for newborns, are sadly lacking as the FDA approved the shot based on clinical trials performed on only 147 infants and children and followed for only 5 days. So just the fraud goes all the way through. Peter McCullough, the FDA's gross malfeasance with ivermectin. Yeah. I mean, it's just so sick. So sick. It was just more dead kids. They have blood on their hands, man. These are the worst type of people. These are child killers. 5-year-old girl has collapsed and died. There were no red flags whatsoever. At 4 a.m., she vomited suddenly and collapsed on the floor. I brushed her hair away from her face, and my instincts told me she was gone. Her post-mortem came back as inconclusive. We don't know why this happened, and it is killing us inside. Did you ever give her the shot? Why are 6-year-old kids dying suddenly? I've read 2 in the last 24 hours, both 6 years old, both fit and healthy. The demographic effects are just going to be incredible. Healthy 22-year-old collapsed during lunch with friends. She had 7 cardiac arrests over 11 days. She has no family history of heart conditions, and she was told she may have caught a virus resulting in inflammation and excess fluid around her heart. BBC News refuses to ask the million-dollar question. 13-year-old girl collapsed with a headache and died hours later from undiagnosed leukemia. We never knew she had it. She never had more than a sniffle, and she's never been hospitalized for anything since she was born. Her father revealed she had bleeding in her brain, lungs, stomach, everywhere. Totally abnormal. 30-year-old fit and healthy mother of 2 died after collapsing with a brain aneurysm while teaching a fitness class in the UK. She was very, very active and would go skiing, swimming, paddleboarding, and sailing and cycling. 62-year-old Gold Coast Hospital employee woke up paralyzed after Pfizer vaccine. Despite knowing he was left paralyzed by the vaccine, QLD Health has been bullying and coercing him for the past 16 months to take it again, even though they know he has a high risk of dying. Sal the Agris. This is what government healthcare looks like. I'm the face of assisted death in Canada. As a 42-year-old woman with a rare complication of lupus, iatrogenic injuries, I will only cost the system. I want to live, but can't get the care I need, and have been approved for MAID. Wow. So freaking sad. Stu Peters, they are openly killing our children with a bioweapon, celebrating their deaths and plotting to snuff the rest of their little innocent lives out. Yeah, they are. Christine Violante of Lyndhurst died suddenly on Sunday, February 5th. Her obituary reads she was 32 years old. A 16-year-old in North Dakota went to the doctor in November for flu symptoms, but found out he had heart failure. He was put on life support because of an enlarged heart and a blood clot. I thought I got food poisoning, and then I got a heart transplant. UNLV community mourning sudden loss of football student athlete age 20. At least UNLV does not have a COVID vax requirement. Brian Keeler. This is another neighbor who took the you-know-what is being taken away in a body bag. 4th neighbor in 6 months. This is from my bedroom window. So this person has watched 4 neighbors being taken out to the morgue. This is Bethany Frankel, not doing that great. Ever hear of POTS syndrome? No, because it's an extremely rare disease and a side effect from the vaccine. New study shows healthy children are dying suddenly and unexpectedly across Canada due to vax. You can lay it right at the hand of Trudeau. Mass murder. Totally evil. Chicago Blackhawks captain Jonathan Toews announced on Sunday he is stepping away from hockey while he deals with symptoms of long COVID and chronic immune response syndrome. The 34-year-old missed the entire 2021 season from what he called chronic immune response syndrome. So he took the shot and got an immune reaction. Yeah. Popular marathon runner 40-year-old Hannah suffered a cardiac arrest, and she sadly died nearly a year ago. The media left out how many doses she had. Why is the media refusing to report the facts? Taylor Forrest Martin, so evil what they've done. They took my daughter too. She was only 18. She died suddenly in November 9th, 2022. They must be held accountable for her and all those sweet souls. Yeah, they do. Brother Kev, they just got off the phone with my sister. They just found my perfectly healthy 31-year-old niece dead on the bathroom floor, fully vaxxed. Jesus, give me strength. Lord, help us. Please keep our family in your prayers. The family of the 28-year-old actor Jansen Panettiere, who was found unresponsive in his apartment earlier this month, has released his cause of death. Though it offers little solace, the medical examiner reported Jansen's sudden passing was due to heart complications, cardiomegaly, enlarged heart, coupled with aortic valve complications. The media doesn't want you to know he was vaccinated. The family is asking for privacy. R.I.P. 28. Former Mets minor league pitcher Matt Poborenko, dead at 31, heart attack. Worked out of the bullpen at Single A St. Lucie, Double A Binghamton. Played for the Marlins and Diamondbacks organizations. Another day, another footballer has died during a football game. When is this going to stop happening? He was only 23. Michael tragically collapsed during the game and never regained consciousness. Athlete and Cody College senior Ella Page, dead. Sudden passing. Died unexpectedly. Was a Byron High School graduate. Her father is current school superintendent in Austin, Minnesota. Cody Bruner, 37, passed away after collapsing in the snow from a seizure. He shared pro-vaccination views on his social media. What have they done? These are just like body parts rotting away, skin rotting off. Steve Kirsch, Ohio State rep. Chris Jordan dies at age 46, but don't worry, because they'll never check to see if he was killed by the vaccine. Multiple high school students collapse and die unexpectedly, February 25th. Died suddenly. Tragic. 3 teachers from the same school have died suddenly in the past 3 months. The school says each teacher had different and unique health concerns that contributed to their passing. Terry Register died in his sleep. Eva Shetley died very suddenly. Andre White Hunter appeared to be healthy prior to her death, and social media post indicated it wasn't expected. That's from February 21st. Nashville, Angela Kelly used to walk 10 miles per day, ride her bike 24 miles every 2 days. She also ran a charity that helped feed hungry children. After the second dose, she had 9 TIAs and strokes. She had blindness, couldn't speak, and didn't even know who she was. My life is not the same. Cheryl Atkinson, no brain activity, hospitalized with stroke in January, 2 weeks after mandated COVID booster. It wasn't her, it was somebody else, dead. Evan Fischel, celebration of life and expenses fund. Died unexpectedly, looked young and healthy. Yeah, so the deaths are happening. It's just mass murder. Just another day, mass murder.